Hey, so I just got back from a trip from Tokyo and Melbourne, and I grabbed a few crafty things, mostly yarn and some Sashiko related items. So let's take a look at what I got. My trip started off in Tokyo. Let's talk about my SeeKnit purchase. So I actually purchased these online, and I had been meaning to grab more SeeKnit needles, especially when I heard that they had a brand new collection out for the curve needles. This is actually the first time I'm opening this package. I'll be opening it with all of you. So what I did was I ordered my needles from SeeKnit online, and I noticed that they offered a service to deliver to your hotel. I just realized like that'll be a better way for me to ensure that I don't have to pay duties, etc. when it ships to Canada. And then I remembered that I work for a company that is quite global. We have lots of different coworkers from across the world, and I looked for a coworker who lived in Tokyo, and she was willing enough to help me, and so I delivered my order to her. So let's check this out for the first time in all its glory. So it comes with a free canvas bag. What I purchased, if I remember correctly, so this is, I believe they call it my favorite set. What I appreciate about SeeKnit is that you don't have to buy like a giant kit like in Chiagu needles. I found that as I've been knitting for the past few years, I don't actually use my really big needles like on the large size set. I know that you can purchase them separately. I think the small set and the large set. I just went and just like got the full set, and I really learned, because at the time I thought, you know what, I'll just purchase the full set so that I'm ready when I have like bulky yarn and DK and worsted yarn. But I really learned that I just gravitate towards DK and worsted yarn. So I purchased a set of 6 needles that is specific, that I usually use a lot. So I appreciate that SeeKnit allows you to customize your set. I only purchased a couple cords because I heard that you can use some of the cords with your existing SeeKnit collection. So I will let you know if that's true. The largest one I got was 6 millimeters. Then the smallest one I got in this set is a 3.5. And then I got a bonus 3 millimeter one because sometimes I was looking through all the patterns that I was planning to do this year, and some of them did call for a much smaller needle. So I got this one as well. I don't know why I'm not test driving it for all of y'all. So, okay. I can already tell a much better difference. So I also opted for the longer needle length because I noticed with my Chiagu needles that my cords, my hands sometimes bend. I mean, lately I've gotten better. This one, so I got a longer needle set needle length so that I know that the cords won't get bent. So, or I can already tell off the bat, like it's way past my hands, which is fantastic. Also, these are gorgeous. My gosh, they're so smooth. And then this is just a set of, I think this is like one of my favorite parts. They just have these lovely cord stoppers and stoppers. They're just so pretty. Oh, I mentioned that I currently own the Shiratake SeeKnit 4-inch needles. And here's an example of me bending. I tend to put a lot of pressure at the ends, and that's why I opted for the longer ones. These are 4-inch, and I genuinely enjoyed knitting with them. The only issue is that I found that this sudden taper here causes my yarn to get stuck, and I really have to push all of my stitches in. While these, I can already feel that the taper isn't as extreme. So you can see here with the 5 millimeter needle, the slope is much more intense. So oftentimes my stitches would bunch up here, while in the curve set, it's a much more gentle slope. So I'm hoping, and I would imagine it wouldn't get stuck as fast. So that's one of the main reasons why I got the curve set to try out. One of my main issues, however, with my SeeKnit sets is that I don't have a proper case. Like the case just felt a bit, the needle case just felt a bit too pricey for me. These are already pretty pricey needles. And so I'm gonna have to like do a DIY project and maybe sew my own needle case to really work with my SeeKnit collection. Okay, let's talk next about Walnut. Walnut is a store that everyone has been talking about whenever they visit Japan and if they're a knitter. And I believe they sell mostly amirisu yarn. Let's talk about this sticker for a moment. Like, how cute. As you can see, this is all I purchased. Oh no, that's a lie. That is not the only thing I purchased. I also purchased a book. Maybe we'll talk about the book first. I purchased the Sock Knitting Club book. I figured it was quite unique. I literally fell in love with this image first. I love red socks. It's quite cool as well because half of it is in English and the other half is written in Japanese. These are all the different socks I can make. I'm not sure what I'm going to start with, I'll be honest. But I was really fascinated by the woven basket pattern. I think that was like the first pattern that I said, okay, I'm good, I'm sold. So I opted for that. I was looking for some sock yarn at Walnut, but they told me that, or specifically like amirisu sock yarn, and they told me that they don't sell any fingering yarn with nylon. This was something that their company and their founders were trying to debate on whether they should do. So for now, all they sold was fingering weight. I think it was for climate or ecological purposes. I thought that was a very interesting note. So let's open this up. So what did I buy other than that book? This is from the brand Kohana. And what happened was this trip started, so we flew from Canada to Tokyo. Then from Tokyo, we flew to Melbourne to visit my brother. And then from Melbourne, that's where we flew back to Canada. And my tiny snips, which I purchased in San Francisco, funny enough, and I know for sure that they passed American TSA. They did not pass security. So Australia actually confiscated my tiny foldable scissors that was part of my knitting pouch. And so these actually came in clutch because now I can replace them. This is actually the first time I'm unboxing this. Oh my gosh, so tiny. Look how tiny they are. Do they even cut much? I don't know, but they're so cute. Tiniest little snips. So I grabbed that. I bought quite a bit of Sashiko related supplies. I literally just grabbed what I could. These are some needles. I got both the normal length and also the long type Sashiko needles from Daruma. This is something I really wanted to try and I figured why not purchase them from Tokyo. I also grabbed some thread. Some of my favorite colors, red and green. I also bought these samplers so I can actually practice the stitches on something. My plan is that maybe I'll purchase a piece of fabric and stitch this on to practice and use that fabric to kind of wrap our bento boxes when we go to work and have lunch. So that's a future project. Or of course, if there's anything that needed some mending, I can try that out. But I figured we are in Tokyo, we should try a brand new craft and start collecting some items from there. So I went ahead and grabbed those from Walnut. Actually, that's everything from Tokyo. We're now going to talk about where I definitely purchase yarn. I definitely got it in Melbourne. So in Melbourne, there were two stores that I really wanted to go to. And that first store is Morris & Sons. Morris & Sons was located in the Central Business District, so the CBD. And I was really interested in their house brand. So I grabbed 4 balls of their Empire 8-ply, which is made from Australian merino. And this is the color Olive 816. My plan was this is actually to create my Noah scarf. I've been meaning to create that Noah scarf for so long. And so I grabbed that. And then when I was walking around in this huge store, there was so much to see. I saw that they were actually a Rowan flagship store. So I also grabbed this felted tweed by Rowan. I will be honest, I kind of just like grabbed skeins without really even thinking. I knew I wanted to make an accessory, and because this had more yardage or meterage than the Empire, I thought like, oh, maybe I only need 3 of Rowan. So I grabbed Rowan in the color 220. I will figure out what that is later. And I'll be honest, I don't know what I'm gonna make with this. Most likely a scarf of some sort, maybe a beanie, but I'm really leaning towards either the easy peasy scarf or shawl. But I will be honest, I checked it the other day and I don't think I have enough yardage. And so I might actually just take the My Favorite Things knitwear, her scarf number 5, her most recent scarf. I might just follow that and just skip the stripes and just follow the pattern to create what I can with this meterage. I believe I can make the largest size when I was Googling it last night. So that's what I got at Morris & Sons. Definitely some accessories ahead of me. And what's funny was that when I walked out of there, I thought this is the only yarn I'm going to purchase for this holiday. I will be fine. I don't need to buy that much yarn. But alas, I visited Maker, and lots of yarn came. Well, really just one sweater quantity. So let me move my tea and talk about this first. So Maker was this adorable, honestly, it might have been my favorite store in this entire holiday. I love the people. I literally walked in and there were so many other crafters there who I guess were like frequent visitors of the store, and they were like sharing the different crafts that they finished right before Christmas Eve. And so they were also supportive of each other. The staff were lovely as well. And so when I was looking at the yarn, I thought, once again, I don't need anything. I have enough sweater quantity at home. But then I found this heirloom merino fleck 8-ply, which is like a DK. And I love fleck, or I love tweed, as you can tell, because I did purchase another tweedy skein. But what was really interesting about this is, one, it's made in Australia, so it's Australian wool. And honestly, it was the price that got me. For one skein, it was $8 Australian dollars, which is maybe about like 7 Canadian dollars, not sure. So the price was really fascinating to me because, you know, I was expecting that amongst all the other yarns that were worth 20 Australian dollars or more, this was just 8 per skein. So I couldn't resist a good deal. And I had been meaning to buy Australian products to really try out and also to kind of commemorate this trip. Like, look how beautiful the tweed is on this guy. There's like bits of brown, bits of white. And so I grabbed a sweater's quantity of yarn. There's like 15 in here, 15 skeins, because typically that is what I need for my body shape. What am I planning to make with this? The other day I was honestly debating whether I make another Mono Knits her slouchy sweater, the one that I test knitted last month, but I saw this almost like a Henley sweater that was all over my Instagram. And luckily I did find a pattern. I think it's called the Wanaka pattern. I believe the pattern designer is from New Zealand, and a couple people actually used heirloom. I did not recognize that until I got home and I was doing some pattern research. So I'm really excited to use that. I wanted something more casual in my wardrobe, and so I think this would be great, especially the color. But I figured this would be great for more casual wear, maybe with my dark brown pants, some olive pants, maybe even dark jeans or light jeans. So many options, so much yarn, and hopefully I can tackle that soon. The last few things I purchased from Maker. is a book, and also it's really cute magnetic needle minder. So this is a brand that I've been seeing quite a lot. Both Morris & Sons and Maker Maker had this. This is Somo. It's an Australian brand, and they had they had quite a lot of notions that they were selling, mostly for like sewing and embroidery. For example, they had like this gorgeous set of scissors. Some of that I think was like made in Italy. Where's this one made? This one's made in China. This is a magnetic needle minder, and I just couldn't resist a tomato one. If I can get it out for you. So I can just, it's just magnets. So when I'm doing my needlework, so let's say if I was embroidering, I was doing some Sashiko work on this fabric, I can just use the magnet to put it on. So it just sticks on. I was doing an applique project before my trip, and I did struggle with keeping the needle and finding the needle. I kept forgetting to put it back in my actual tomato, and so my magnetic tomato will do. Last thing I purchased amongst all this plastic is this book, The Knitted Fabric. This was also from Maker Maker, and something I really want to do next year is to really dive more into color work. I have some projects already started, but I wanted to drive that further because there are so many cool patterns in here. And also there are just these fantastic charts that I feel like I could use amongst different projects as well. So as much as this does have specific garments that you can create, I'm sure these charts I can easily just like transpose into socks and kind of refinagle, rejig. So that is the knitted fabric. That was quite a bit of stuff, at least for me. So I've packaged up all my yarn, and they're just gonna be waiting for me in my stash, ready to go once I finish other projects. But in the meantime, I hope that you've had a great year and that 2026 will be beautiful and wonderful for you. I'm sure that you'll have a great crafting endeavor this year. I hope we all will. And I will see you in the next video.